Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Davy
Tracy in 2 seconds.
and Tracy
Ah!
from DavyandTracy.com. And welcome to Magick Monday, episode 13. Wow, we've been doing this for 13 weeks already. And basically, our weekly podcast explores nature focused spirituality for mental, emotional, spiritual healing. And Tracy and I wanted to have a little discussion about the direction of our site and our YouTube channel and this
This podcast.
live stream.
Hold on. All right.
And our kid just crashed our live stream. So we'll wait a few minutes and let people join and let Tracy come back. That's the thing with having a live stream is anything can happen. And I'm sure any of you with kids at home can relate. So Tracy will be back in just a second. Um, I made some peppermint iced tea this weekend because I have a big herb garden, so that's what I'm drinking right now. So if you're wondering what the heck I'm drinking, this water that's slightly off color, this is peppermint iced tea that I made, and it is really good. I've been drinking a lot of this lately because my herbs are just absolutely exploding. So the favorite teas I've made so far is lemon thyme, peppermint, and chocolate
I love
mint,
lemon thyme.
and lemon verbena. I also made some lemon balm tea, but my lemon balm didn't really like the hot, dry weather we had, so I had to cut it back, and now it's starting to grow back. So I'm looking forward to making some more lemon balm. Tracy's back,
I'm back. Did you mention?
and Sarah's
direction?
here.
Hey,
Hey
Sarah.
Sarah, well, thanks for joining us.
Did you mention
Yeah, no,
direction?
I
Okay.
kind of was waiting for you to come back.
Okay. Yeah. So we kind of Dave and I we practice this ritual every single morning. We will get to this. This is where this comes in, but we have a little thing. We want to talk about like the growing and the direction because we definitely want this to be something that you guys resonate with and something that we resonate with. And we've been using the title of nature focused, um, but it's something that hasn't really resonated with us, and we think that's one of the reasons why maybe it's not resonating with you guys is because nature focus is kind of a
It's a broad term that's
right,
not easy to define.
right. It also
And
means different things to different people.
right. And so Tracy and I have been having discussions over the last week on like, what are we going to call our practice? What are we going to, what is it that we do? What is this live stream about?
Hmm.
What is our website about?
And that's where we kind of connected. We got to the term, as you heard Davey say, is connecting to nature for mental, emotional, and spiritual healing because that's one of those things that um, that's why we connect to nature on a level to help us. We both suffer from depression, and this connecting to nature in different ways is you know, helps us find joy and happiness, and that's kind of the point. And so we want to find something that's a little more direct to help you guys be like, this is what we help you guys do. This is why we want to bring you these tools. This is why we want to bring you these rituals. And so we've kind of come under we need an umbrella to go under, and then we can find our place under the umbrella. And this morning, or it was a couple days ago, this weekend, we kind of discussed the topic of green witchcraft. Um, and that definitely has resonated with us a little bit more.
It's pretty much what we have been practicing and are practicing. And, to be honest, I've kind of been hesitant to use the term green witchcraft to describe our practice because that's kind of a lightning rod term for
A lot
the
of people.
society at large. The term witchcraft, you always think of like I mean, there's a segment of society that believes that witchcraft is evil, satanic, and all that stuff, and it's completely absurd. It's not
Right.
at all. It's a lack of understanding of what witchcraft really is. There's nothing woo about it, and really. And so Tracy and I, like, I've been really hesitant to even mention that term or embrace that term. But when I look at our practice and what Tracy and I do, and the benefits that it provides us, and just like basically how we live our lives, the best description I can come up with is green witchcraft.
Right, because we wanted something that resonated with us, that we felt like this actually embodies us. And the big thing about for us is not embracing that sort of term, or like I said, the umbrella term. is that we're missing out on connecting to more people
To
that
like-minded
actually
people.
right.
Right.
We're trying to avoid the people that we don't want and avoid that sort of lightning rod that we're missing out on connecting to people and bringing green witchcraft. It's not like David mentioned. It's not anything. It has no religion. It's what we're doing, growing herbs. Connecting to
Connecting with the
nature.
natural cycles,
The moon phases.
using plants, tuning into plants for, creating herbal medicine and cooking with them, making teas with them. It's, looking at animals as, something to be honored and respected. It's, following the seasons and the cycles and understanding the wisdom and the messages in the different changes within the seasons, following the moon cycles. And so I've, over a long period of time, come to the point, hi Jen, thanks for joining us. It's taken a long time, but I've come to the point to just embrace the fact and own the fact that, I am essentially a practitioner of green witchcraft, and that's kind of a term that Tracy and I want to use a little bit more to really describe what we do and what we're about, because I think that's something that a lot of people are going to connect to better.
Right, so we're going to rename this podcast. We thought we had a discussion this morning. We don't have a name for it.
We want to rename this something else because we want to get more focused.
Right.
Like I said, Magick Monday, it's a little broad and you don't really know exactly what it is.
So the point
nature-focused spirituality is a little broad too.
Right, sorry. So the flow of this will be the same thing. We're going to talk about the moon phases. Davy's going to give you the lunar forecast. That's going to be really important to us. We're then going to go over the cards. But we're also going to create the last half a ritual based on the cards, the moon phase, and give you a ritual that we're going to practice throughout the week that you can practice otherwise. That way, this is more of a functioning thing rather than just you sitting and listening.
Right.
It's something that you can actually take and then do. So to address that, this is the altar that we have created. It's something that Davy and we've talked about before, of having this multi-sensory experience when you practice, and it's a connecting to nature. And we thankfully can go outside and connect, but having this, it's basically just a wooden platter that I found, and that's all it is.
The nice thing about that is it's portable, so it can be inside, but we don't just take the whole thing and bring it outside, because there's this little segment of tree stump that we have a couple chairs around, and so we can move that outside.
But so we have our candle on it. This is the July candle that you usually see here.
Represents freedom.
Represents freedom. We have crystals that we work with. This one represents joy. I gotta remember the name of it. I don't remember what crystal this one is.
It's not a grossular agate, is it? Or is it? It looks like a agate.
It's some sort of agate. I have to remember it. But for me, it just represents joy. And when I see it, it reminds me to reflect on joyful things. This one is our adventuring. It means it's for gratitude. So when we work with this, we hold
associate with gratitude. Generally, it's luck and good fortune. But Tracy and I have always associated gratitude with, which I guess kind of goes. I mean, if you're grateful, you're lucky, right?
And then this one clears away negative energy. So this is just something that's personal. So when we talk, this is something we'll talk to you guys about, was creating your altar. This is rosemary that Davy is growing his garden. So we're just drying it. It represents herbs that we are growing, and it's something that just looked pretty. So that's the one I chose. Same thing with the lavender. It's something that we are currently growing outside. So we dried some of it. Which one are these? These
calendula.
Calendula.
Which you can make into tea.
Right. Again, we're growing this. So we just made this. It's something pretty. It's not like you have to use these things. These are just dried elements of what's currently growing outside. So we will change this regularly. The strawberries for me just represented a summer fruit, and I wanted, again, I just add color and add just a visual thing. So this is something that's representation, and this is what part of the practice that we're doing is just having this visual representation of what's currently going on outside.
Right, kind of like an altar that changes with the seasons and connects you to what is currently going on. It's not, I feel like an altar shouldn't be something that's static. It should be something that continuously changes, especially if you do practice any kind of nature-focused spiritual practice or green witchcraft or something like that, is that, you kind of live by rhythms and cycles of nature. And so, so this altar will change, the crystals will change, the herbs will change, the candle will change as we move through different cycles and seasons.
So I guess what we had. That's the direction that we wanted to talk to you guys about. That we're just really focusing on being more focused. So there are going to be some changes. If you're watching this in the Facebook group, we are going to change our name of our Facebook group, change the heading, just so we have it definitely focused. We're going to embrace the Green Witchcraft name, just because we, rather than focusing on being afraid to
identify a practice of what we do.
Right. Yeah. Rather than repelling those we don't want to hear from, we're just going to embrace it and attract those that we want to be part of our community. And yeah, I can say if you guys have any questions, let us know. We're going to be doing a lot on our website as far as the actual moon phases. Davy's been doing a lot of behind the scene work, so we're going to be bringing all of that to the forefront.
Yep.
So lots of wonderful things coming.
All right, let's get started.
On our actual practice.
Oh, come on. This candle's a little further away than I'm used to. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouth. All right, so we like to share or start off what we're grateful for. So post in the comments, what are you grateful for, whether you're watching this live or the recording. Tracy, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for moving forward with this practice and connecting to more people. I'm also grateful that we have a car, a new car, and it's been a long week.
Last week we were a little
disheveled because
our
car died.
Our Magick Monday.
Our car died at the shop, so we had no car. So I had to have Davy's sister actually drove me to go get groceries, and
it was kind of a rough week last week, and
I got sick on Tuesday because I was so stressed on the solution.
Right, and not only did we not suddenly not have a car for a week, which is stressful enough, but car shopping is stressful
when you don't have a car.
because you're trying to find the right one, and just the process of buying a car, well, not nearly as convoluted and crazy as buying a house. Buying a car is like, there's just a lot of paperwork and back and forth and waiting to hear back from banks and this or that and the other thing.
Finally,
it was a kind of a stressful week last week.
So we finally have a new car, and we love our new car. It worked out all around because then someone gave us, our car is broken. It is undrivable. It turns on, it's undrivable without the mechanic, and one of the mechanics bought our car.
So that made the process of getting rid of our old car
so much easier,
really easy and less stress. So like the week last week started really stressful and ended really positive and
so I'm grateful for that.
So
grateful for it. Was a really nice weekend. Grateful for moving forward in our practice and I'm grateful for tea that you make, and our son makes our tea.
I was just mentioning to people, I don't know if you missed this or not. So this is peppermint iced tea, which I'm totally addicted to now. Like, I'm pretty much only making iced tea with the herbs in the garden.
Yeah, our son actually likes the tea too.
Yeah, does he like the peppermint?
I don't know if he's had the peppermint.
He liked the lemon verbena.
I'm also grateful that our son enjoys Reiki. Past few nights he's actually asked me to do Reiki. We do a bedtime meditation every night. We've been doing that for almost 3 years now, and it's a guided meditation that we really enjoy. It tells a story.
So it's a YouTube channel called New Horizons, and
they have kid meditations,
and I think they have adult meditations.
They do. They have adult. They have kid. They have music. They have a variety. But we just listen to the kid one channel. It comes out every single Wednesday. We're very excited. So there's always a new video on Wednesday, but lately he's actually been asking for Reiki. So I'm grateful for that.
Let's see. Jen says, I'm grateful for a weekend at home, getting some work done and playing games with family yesterday. And Jen says, I'm in a purging mode, physically getting rid of things that no longer suit me, clearing space. That's something that Tracy and I wanted to focus on over the last month, and it didn't really happen. But we are entering a Cancer new moon on Monday, and so that is some Cancers associated with home and domestic life, and so that's definitely something that Tracy and I want to spend this week. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the Lunar Forecast, but about kind of releasing and purging. We actually did create a box to put some things in that we're getting ready. We call it our garage sale box. So yeah, that's something that Tracy and I are working on.
Super quick. I'm sorry. Are we fuzzy because it looks clear on the phone?
I think it's this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me know.
Sarah says, I'm grateful for another round of pull beans, lots of them this time, and for a relaxing weekend. I'm grateful for a vet who won't push expensive procedures if they're not needed. We'll hear today. Sarah says, I'm grateful for coffee today. I'm grateful for coffee every day. I went so long without drinking coffee, and now I'm like, I just can't get through the day without 2 cups. And I don't know. I mean, coffee is a plant. It's a natural.
I go back and forth because I feel the same way. I'm like, I wake up and I do have energy when I wake up, and I don't feel like I need coffee, but I feel it's almost more of a ritualistic thing to sit down and because Dave and I, it is a ritualistic thing for Dave and I. We have coffee together. We go outside. We talk about gratitude. We have sort of a, it's a connection that we have, and not having the coffee. I don't know. It's just
when we were in Incredible Smoothies, we had an article on our site about breaking caffeine addiction, and I really like the idea of not being on caffeine, but. I've gone periods where I didn't drink any coffee or had any caffeine, and now I'm up to like 2 cups of coffee a day. And on one hand, you could be like, well, is that a bad thing? And on the other hand, it's like, well, it's using plants to boost my energy and focus. Is that so bad?
I think the thing is we both drink black coffees, and that's the other thing. That's one of the reasons why coffee is not good for you is you're adding sugar and cream. And
going to a cafe and getting like 10 sugars and 8 cream and so definitely thankful for coffee.
Yeah, Sarah says it, definitely.
Definitely ritualistic for me.
It's comforting.
It's a
I agree. It's just one of those things. Like when I don't drink it, if I drink tea instead. One, for some reason, because I do intermittent fasting, I cannot drink green tea on an empty stomach, even if it's 10 o'clock. I have to wait till after I've broken my fast. I can drink green tea like 2 hours after I close my fasting window, but I can't drink it before. It really will make me sick. But coffee doesn't, and I don't know what's in green tea that causes that. But anyways,
all right.
Back to
Lunar Forecast.
Lunar Forecast.
So this week so yesterday was a third quarter moon in Aries, I believe.
I need to get my wheel.
Got my little moon calendar here. So yeah, yesterday was a third quarter moon in Aries. So we're moving into that waning moon, going into the new moon, which is in Cancer, which is going to happen on Monday. So a week from today is going to be the new moon in Cancer. So we're in the sign of Aries from now until tomorrow. Aries is associated with taking initiative and putting yourself out there. So I kind of see, with the waning moon, it's about releasing, clearing space, getting ready to, have that fresh start with the new moon. So Aries is really, that sign, that energy today is really asking you to take initiative to step up with kind of clearing and preparing, getting ready for the new moon that's coming up.
That's kind of what we're doing.
Right, so tomorrow through Thursday, today it's changing. Yeah, today through Thursday. So today we're at that tail end of the Aries, and then we're moving into Taurus, which is about security, pleasure, getting stuff done. Again, that waning energy combined with Taurus is just about clearing space so that you can create, I'm going to tie this in with the Cancer moon cycle coming up, is just kind of, creating, we're taking initiative to clear space and release what no longer serves you so you can build a home that gives you both pleasure and security. Having both, not choosing one or the other, but kind of charging ahead with buckling down and doing what you need to create a home and domestic life that brings pleasure, joy, but also security and comfort. And then let's see. Saturday, the waning moon goes into Gemini. So over the weekend, we'll have the moon in Gemini, which is associated with communication. And when the moon is at that, it's like the balsamic, the almost the end, kind of like that sliver before the new moon. That's associated with kind of like self-care, taking a breath, taking a little space and self-care. So this weekend you might need to take some time out and really communicate your needs with others around you. Might require saying no to an obligation, or just communicating with your spouse, partner, or whoever you live with to just make sure that you have a little bit of space and time for yourself this weekend. And then, as I said, Monday the new moon will be in the sign of Cancer. We're going to talk about that more next week. This is actually the second new moon in Cancer of this year, because the last new moon was also in Cancer. So just the way the cycles are, we have two new moons in Cancer. So you kind of have, if you kind of slacked off on the new moon cycle last month, like Tracy and I did.
Well, we didn't slack off. Our car.
We didn't slack off, but it's.
But that's the thing, is you have to. This is where
you have a
communication
second
comes
chance.
in.
Yeah.
It's like life is not perfect. Even for Davy and I, we had every intention the first new moon, and we even made plans. Like, okay, we're gonna start with this room, and this is what we're gonna do. And then our car, we were without a car for a week, and we need to get some shelves and stuff like that. So we just kind of put it off.
Right.
And that's part of being, communicating is communicating to yourself. Realistically, we couldn't do that, so we need to make a different plan to be realistic with, okay, this is the day we're going to start that task. And
that's one thing that it's hard for me, because I set really high standards for myself, and I tend to judge myself harshly, and that doesn't, that's something that some of you watching this might need to work on releasing this week is, I struggle with that whole idea of like releasing expectations. I'm very much a control freak. I like to have my hands into things and like try to like exert control over it. And if I don't step up, I have these high standards that I hold myself to. And if I don't feel like I'm at those standards, I really berate myself over it. And
it's something I struggle with too. But I struggle with, and I think both of us struggle with this, is that we're like, okay, here's all the tasks that have to get done right now.
Right.
And that's a big thing that I struggle with, because we're like, we have to clean and organize this whole house, but it's like, we don't have to do it today.
We don't have to do the whole house. It doesn't have to be, perfect. I mean, we don't have to try to make our house look like this Instagrammable. Every single nook and cranny of the house needs to be Instagram perfect.
Because it's not. Davy has plant stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, is like, I think
it's a process. Just like anything in life, it's a process, and you can't just snap your fingers and change it. It'd be nice if you could, but as long as you make that steady progress.
Right. I think this is where, like, one thing I'm working on is, okay, this day, a realistic day and time, I will work on this part. A realistic day and time we'll work on. So that's how we are organizing our house. Like Davey mentioned before, we have a little box. That's kind of our garage sale. It's probably going to be a virtual garage sale, but it's our garage sale box. So as we're looking through the house, as we're cleaning, everything that we don't want, we're putting in that box that we could either sell or give away. That way, kind of starting that motion in that box reminds us to fill it with stuff that we we don't need anymore.
Let's pull cards.
Yes.
So let's start with the animal card.
Did you shuffle this?
Yes. This is our animal wisdom for the week. What do we got? Owl.
Magic. This is a beautiful card. I'm going to show you real quickly before I... Choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception. Let the past go and make room for a better life. rise up. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. It's exactly what we were just talking about. Is um, let go of the past, let go of what's not serving you, and this is totally.
Well, I think this is relevant to what we were talking about in the beginning of this uh, earlier today, because um,
About the
opening
practice.
your vision and rise up, magic, wisdom are your birthright. Just Tracy and I kind of like owning our path and being a little more comfortable about talking about it and taking on that. It's like just being comfortable with the sharing
Right. Because we
our
probably are going to receive negative kind of, negative feedback. And it's okay because eventually we will also make a lot of good connections. And everyone I've spoke to about the practice that we're doing one on one, they've always been, I've been attracting a lot more people who follow the moon phases as, just in their daily lives.
all right, plant wisdom,
And all of these cards are, links to all of these cards are in the
the
description.
decks, yeah. Daffodil. This is interesting because as I was pre-shuffling, oh my goodness, it's just bright yellow. I don't know if you can see that. So while I was shuffling this deck, this card actually fell out of the deck. And as I usually do, I pick it up, I put it in the deck, and I keep shuffling. And here it is. So Daffodil is about perception. These magnificent heralds of spring are literally trumpeting the joy and freedom of learning to be yourself. Daffodil wants you to see the light, to receive the beauty and perfection and the wholeness that is you, just as you are. It is time to release any self doubt and revel in the freedom and weightlessness of endless possibilities.
Yeah, that's definitely today.
Wow, yeah. I almost feel like these cards are more for Tracy and I than for you guys watching. This is kind
But
of
I think
interesting.
everyone's going
Yeah.
through that. A lot of people are probably going through the same thing that we're going through, and I think definitely being more like this is the direction we're going to, and feeling aligned to it is only going to make us stronger, and being just more true and just sharing. Because there's a lot of things we do, like even little things like the tea and just this practice, and there's a lot of things that we do that we don't share, um, and so yeah, I think just being more present and sharing a lot of the practice that we do to connect.
Right. Jen said, I try either tackling a specific project or I give myself amount of time, say an hour or two. That way it's not overwhelming and I see my accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that's what Tracy and I do. Um, it's hard though, like it's hard to like focus on like 1 hour here or one little section when you look at your whole house as a whole and you're like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, chunk it down. Tarot card for the week is Justice. So, yeah, Justice is interesting, but it's also a card of balance and taking a rational approach to things, and kind of seeing both sides, seeing all sides. Um, so, in a way, it's kind of like, I mean, again, I'm kind of pertaining this to Tracy and I because these cards seem to be super hyper relevant to us today. The Justice card is kind of that balancing act, that rational approach to, what is it that we do? What direction do we want to take our YouTube channel and our website? Um, and it's interesting too because this Justice card, they're holding a sword, and the suit of swords in tarot is associated with the mind and the thoughts. So I kind of see this card like, just intuitively what I'm thinking right now is that, this is more about taking a rational approach to the thoughts in your head and in your mind and kind of stepping back, not getting as emotionally involved and just, rationally thinking over, maybe even challenging some of the thoughts that you have, like challenging negative thoughts or challenging assumptions that you have, and really kind of taking a step back, tuning down the emotions of what you're thinking about, and in that you get clarity. Um, a lot of things that cloud our thinking and hold us back is just the emotion of fear, the assumptions that we make, just the emotional anxiety, or depressive feelings about certain things, and our light just died. um, and so that kind of holds you back. So this is a good week to kind of you know take some time to step back and take a look at both sides, take a rational approach to it. To tie it to these two cards, um, justice is about finding the truth, and with the owl cards, choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception. Isn't that what justice is about? Letting go of the past, making a better life. Oops. Justice again, perception. At first, when I pulled the justice card, I'm like, how does that pertain to anything? But it actually is really relevant to these. Daffodil wants you to see the light, to perceive beauty, perfection, and wholeness. Release self-doubt and revel in the freedom and weightlessness of endless possibilities. So, yeah, I think this is a very relevant card spread for the week. Jen said, I think you can also look at it as balance in your life, honestly assessing where you're at, taking an objective look. Yeah, for sure. And that is what Tracy and I have been doing a lot lately, is trying to take an objective look with where we are with our life, our business, and where we want to go, and also trying to find that balance, which is very, very tough, especially with kids and or a kid. We have a kid. I don't know how people do it with more than one, honestly.
But it's hard right now, but it's definitely something that we
balance is like a perpetual struggle. I don't really want to say struggle. I mean,
it's not a struggle,
but it's a perpetual
motion that you have to continue.
Yeah, it's not something that you achieve balance and you forever have balance, or that you snap your fingers. Balance is something you really have to work at. And
I actually was talking to someone, and they said that that's actually the most important thing. Is not like even like when it comes to happiness, like not just the presence of being happy,
right,
but how do I get into that? How do I get into feeling joyful? And that's what you have to continue working towards, is the process of getting into balance and getting into joy. Those are what are more important than actually being joyful, because once you're joyful, it just kind of takes precedence.
Was it you that were talking about like a pendulum swing?
Yeah, that's about Reiki.
Okay. And you have to know how to swing that pendulum back to joy, because I mean, it's not going to stay in one spot. The goal is not to stay in fear or despair or negative emotions, but it's not realistic to 100% be blissing out all the time either. That's not really an authentic human experience either. So that kind of your pendulum may swing in a negative direction, but then these tools, this practice that Tracy and I have, and that you guys have, helps you swing that pendulum back to peace and joy and presence and connection. And that's really all this is about.
Which is why we have visual things like this. It's like, do I need it? No. But if I sit myself down in front of this, I have things, if I'm in a depression day, it's one of those things where I look at that and I kind of reflect on the herbs that we're growing, and the abundance of fruit that we have, and just a lot of the things, and it helps me get into a better mindset. Physically have something else to help me. This is one of the things I use to swing the pendulum, is just outside sources around me to remind me to that I have a lot of abundance and a lot of things to be grateful for.
Right, and these cards are excellent journal prompts or meditation prompts to really focus your attention and spiritual and personal growth over the week. Even just a simple act of drinking a tea, tending to plants in my garden. As a gardener, I find, gardening and plants in general are very good for my mental and emotional health and well-being. But even drinking them, I mean, there's legitimate health benefits to drinking these. But also, if you think about the associations and correspondences with different herbs, I associate with peppermint with like awakening and energy, and just mindfulness and presence and awareness are all things that also help you swing that pendulum from stress and anxiety to joy and peace. And
It's that saying where focus goes, energy flows.
right.
Which is a generic statement, but it's kind of true. All right. So unless anybody else has anything else to say, let us know in the comments. As Davy, I'm sure, mentioned, go ahead. Please always share your gratitude. We do read these comments even after. So if you have any questions, we do read the comments. And
Yeah, and like I said, don't be alarmed next week if this podcast has a different name.
Facebook group may be done by next week, so we're going to be definitely making a bunch of changes this week and embracing green witchcraft. And eventually, we will name this practice. We're just working on something that we really want to connect to it.
Just be crystal clear.
Yeah.
What it is that we do.
Right.
And, yeah.
All right.
All right, we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouth.
I'm going to quickly do the meditation.
Oh, yeah. Should we have done it first?
For all of today, I will love. For all of today, I will trust. For all of today, I will be true to myself. For all of today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. For all of today, I will be kind to my neighbor and every living thing.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. We're grateful that you guys watch live or the recordings. And Tracy and I will see you next Monday at 10 o'clock. Have a great week, everybody.